tell the world.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I like to talk about movies, both old and new. Today I'm going to talk about a movie that I think fell through the cracks. Today, Johnny likes The Shadow.
The Shadow knows.
Shadow was a 1994 action-adventure movie starring Alec Baldwin. It was directed by Russel Mulcahy and it was written by David Koepp. Baldwin stars as the Shadow, aka Lamont Cranston. He's a former drug lord. He's been shown the way by a bunch of Tibetan monks who know how to use psychic powers and do all sorts of crazy stuff. He's been given the ability to cloud men's minds. That's what they say, and to see what shadows lurk in the hearts of man.
You know what evil lurks in the hearts of men.
That's the kind of tagline they use. So it takes place in 1930s New York City. The Shadow is a masked vigilante. He goes around at night beating up bad guys who are picking on good guys. So, the Shadow. He's pitted against Shawan Khan, the last living direct ancestor of Genghis Khan. He's a bad guy, so he obviously wants to take over the world. And he's got a big old bomb that he's making, and he really wants to use it if people aren't going to just let him be the boss. So Shadow can't have that. He's got to stop that. On the side, we have Margot Lane, played by Penelope Ann Miller. She is the not quite love interest she's drawn to Lamont Cranston, doesn't know he's the Shadow, because she too has psychic powers. She just isn't really quite aware of them. Margot's father in the movie is played by Ian Mckellen. He is Reinhold Lane. Yeah, I didn't even have to look any of this stuff up. I remembered this all because this movie just stuck in my head. So Mckellen is a forgetful scientist who has been kidnapped by Khan to help him develop the atom bomb here. So you got Shadow, you got Margot Lane. They got to stop Khan from taking over the world, killing New York City, and blowing up Reinhold Lane. So that's the basic synopsis of the movie. It's a classic comic book type trope. Big bad guy wants to take over the world, and he has the same set of powers as the good guy. So Baldwin is well cast here. He is appropriately dark and mysterious for a character named the Shadow. There's a pretty funny scene where he's talking to Margot Lane there, and she's just woken up and she's like, I had the most wonderful dream. I was blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, I had a dream too. I was ripping off my face and I was a different person underneath. And I was like, yeah, they're going to be friends. I like John Lone in this. He was good as Shawan Khan. He was playing what many bad guys were playing for about 10 years or so, which is basically a Hans Gruber ripoff. He's the gentlemanly criminal mastermind. Not that he doesn't have time to do bad stuff, but he'd really rather talk about fashion and gentlemanly crap. Penelope Ann Miller is a good actress, and she does the best with what she is given here, but I liked her. Mckellen actually seems to be kind of just phoning it in or sleepwalking through the movie. I don't know if he just didn't dig the role or didn't like the director. I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but he is uncharacteristically not great, I would say. Like, he is just playing a bumbling older scientist, but for what it was, didn't really bring too much life to it, in my opinion. This was just an action-adventure movie, so everyone was fine. There's no one wooden or really bad. Even Tim Curry got to play a slimy guy for once, which was cool. I love the look of this movie. It's all looked a little bit exaggerated and fantastical. It looks like it's ripped right out of a comic book or a pulp novel from way before I was born in the 50s. The filmmakers do an excellent job of building this film noir world, which they are obviously paying homage to the films from that era. The men are all wearing three-piece suits or trench coats with hats, and the women are all in ball gowns or cocktail dresses, and they're all hair is done to the nines. I don't know what does to the nines mean, but that's a thing you say. They're done up to the nines, real pretty like, and they all have curves and like to show them. Yeah, so they're purdy, but they're not going to cover your kid's eyes purdy. The city's filled with huge cars and skyscrapers. Even has a pneumatic tube system on the outside of the buildings for delivering like high priority messages. This movie reminded me of another film that was made around the same time called The Hudsucker Proxy by the Coen brothers. The look is quite similar to that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they like went halvesies on the sets and costumes. Like it's the exact same era and the exact same style. It all just looks like another world, another time. It's very cool. If there was like a film noir theme park, I would definitely visit it. You might see the Shadow in that park, and it'd be cool. Mulcahy's days as a music video director in the 80s really shine through here. He's able to give everything a nice sense of energy and movement. The effects were pretty cool in this movie. Some of them were practical, some of them were early computer ones. Not everything was 100% like photorealistic. It fit in with the style of the world, and that's often more important than 100% realism. So this is a perfect turn off your brain movie. You don't think about it too much. Yeah, everything is so much fun. I was happy to step into this world with these characters and go on a little adventure for a couple hours. I love some of the concepts the film presented, like the idea of hiding your secret lair with mind powers and blocking it from everybody for like a decade. That was awesome. A little bit unbelievable. Like I said, turn off your brain and you'll be okay. The Shadow having secret operatives all over the city was a nice touch. Cranston's initiation into the Tulku, the Tibetan monk sect that taught him how to use his brain, was pretty memorable. There's a little creature slash yeah, it's a creature. It seems to be alive. It's a dagger that has a mind of its own that flies around the room and it stabs him in the leg at one point. But if you calm your brain, it can apparently sense that and listen to you a bit. That was awesome. I have not seen a flying autonomous dagger before, so that was pretty neat. Have you guys seen an autonomous flying dagger before this movie? Because if you have, let me know where. I absolutely adore mid-level, kind of low-stakes movies like this, where everyone is just out to have a good time, give you a little bit of escapism for a couple hours. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel or do anything groundbreaking that's going to change the world. I like just dumb Hollywood movies a lot of the time, to be real. This is the type of movie where if you're ever flipping through cable and you happen to come across this, it doesn't really matter where you are in the movie. You can just start watching it and you'll watch till the end. Very similar to The Shawshank Redemption, I find. That was one where through endless plays on cable, people got to know it and love it, and yeah, you can start up at any point and just continue to the end. But this was based off of pulp comic books and a radio serial that ran from the 30s through the 50s. It's created by a guy named Walter Gibson. That's about all I know about it. I never read the books or heard the show, but this world is not brand new IP. Yeah, I'm not sure why this movie kind of has a special place in my heart. I saw it several times when I was a kid. I probably saw it first time when I was about 10. I believe it was at my grandma's house, and I think only watched it because somebody else rented it, and it was either watch the movie or do nothing, so obviously watch the movie. But I found myself completely drawn in. It's great because it's cartoonish in places, but it's not necessarily childish, so you don't feel like you're being talked down to. I'm not sure exactly what the target audience was for this, but as a 10-year-old, it worked great. I don't think I was running around pretending to be the Shadow, but it definitely got my brain thinking and went, "Oh, that's cool," as little boys will do. Watched it several times throughout the years and just rewatched it a couple days ago in prep for this little video, and I think it still holds up. I try not to look at it through pure nostalgia lenses, but it was a good time for me, and I think it would be a good time for you. I would be really curious if somebody who's a similar age to me, like a 10 to 12-year-old who's kind of grown up on Marvel superhero movies and DC stuff, what they thought of the movie, like if they thought that it was fun or if it was boring for them, or if they, yeah, just kind of their thoughts. So if you're a little kid out there and you want to write in the comments, that's cool. If you're a parent and you've showed this to your kids, I'd be super curious to hear what you have to say. Overall, I think I'm gonna give this one 4.25 out of 5. Like I said, it's just overall, it's a good, fun movie with good performances, good effects, cool story, cool ideas. There's plot holes, and it's not the most original thing in the world, but for what it is quite well done. If you like this, you might also like Darkman for another alternative superhero type movie, and mentioned the Hudsucker Proxy earlier. That'd be really good. And maybe The Rocketeer for another early 90s kind of superhero throwback movie. Yeah, so let me know, what did you think of the movie? Was there another 1994 forgotten gem that you think is worth mentioning? Let me know in the comments. And if you could do some likey, subscribey, that would be super cool. No pressure though. Thanks for watching me talk about movies for a little bit, and you're more than welcome to come back and see what else Johnny likes.